We really go through and listen to what you want to accomplish in your business first before we decide what tech stacks we're going to use. Consistent auditing and feedback of your systems is really going to help you propel to the next level.
You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Businesses looking to automate and systematize their processes, this next episode is just for you. With us today is Kimberly Laverdure. She is the operations specialist and business consultant at the Virtual Life Alchemist. So excited to have her on. Kimberly, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
Great, Chris. Thanks so much for having me on today.
Absolutely. We always like to ask our entrepreneurs, tell us about your journey. What were you doing before and how did that prepare you for what you're doing today?
I actually started in corporate and small business for about 17 years. My entrepreneurial spirit was kind of lit by my dad owning his own business when I was 8 and kind of learning the back end and learning how to run things. So I've been doing that since I was 17, actually. After that, I owned my own businesses or helped run other people's. And then in 2007, I woke up to a completely ruptured disc that resulted in 3 surgeries over 4 years and left me permanently disabled and not able to work in the work that I was used to doing. And so about 2 years into that, I was offered a position as a editor-in-chief for an online magazine and started to learn the online world. And when that shut down, they're like, you would do really well as a VA, which I had no idea what that was. So I took everything I learned in the mainstream world, moved it online, taught myself the platforms, taught myself the systems and processes. And due to chronic pain and autoimmune diseases, systems and processes are super important for my well-being and health, not just to run my business. And so for me, teaching others to do that has really opened the door to my own gifts and being able to move that into the online space because I still can't work in the mainstream workforce. And I actually love what I'm doing. I've been doing it for 17 years now.
That is incredible. What a fascinating journey to kind of teach yourself through the ropes and then being inspired by your father owning his own business. I'm sure that rubbed off on you a little bit. Did it ever feel like there was always, I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs that they just can't help but see opportunity and want a little bit more? Was that similar case for you? Were you kind of like just an opportunist trying to see different opportunities?
Yeah, I think at first it was just to make a living and not be on Social Security disability, not feel like I'm not a contributing member to society anymore. Those little stories that you tell yourself and that little limiting beliefs. So it was at first just to make a living, support my family, support myself. And then it really did light a fire under me when I realized how much I was helping people and how much it was helping impact their businesses and their clients and getting their gifts into the world, that it really turned into a passion and a purpose.
That's huge. And I think for a lot of us business owners and entrepreneurs and marketers out there, never enough time, right? That's the finite resource we can never get back. What are some of the symptoms that people usually experience in their business or personal life that's kind of holding them back where you now then come in to help fix their problems?
Yeah, I see a lot of overwhelm, even if it just shows up and there's just not enough time in the day. It may not be like total burnout, but not enough time in the day, or I had to cut into my family dinner time to get this done, or I don't know how to let control of my business. That doesn't feel comfortable delegating to somebody so that I can take some of my time back. I would say those are the 2 main factors. Other simple things would just be kind of messy systems, not quite streamlined, good enough, but not as good as you can make it just because you're one person and you're kind of running out of time to do that, or not recognizing what tasks can be automated and streamlined so that the manual tasks can be a little bit more important instead of all of them seeming to be important to do.
Yes, absolutely. It's like the CEOs are kind of wrapped up working in their business instead of on their business. So that doesn't allow them to kind of take a step back and look at their processes and see what's working, what isn't, what needs to be streamlined. They're just too busy, too distracted, and they don't have the time to focus. And that's where your service comes in. That's what you specialize in. What does that process and program look like? Is it 3 to 6 months? Do you have some certain packages that kind of work best for most businesses?
Yeah, I have 2 separate ones. I have working with my private clients where I do the services. So I'm their VA, I'm their online business manager, I'm their operations manager. I delegate to the team, I project manage, event manage. That's one side of it. And it can be customized. It can be, if you're strictly doing webinars, that can be a package if you need the whole thing. And then the other side is my group program, Systemize for Success, which is a 9-week program. And it takes you through 7 different steps, starting with your vision and goal setting and working your way through systemizing processes, audits, feedback, continual improvements.
Nice. That is awesome. For business owners who are trying to get to the next level, I hear a lot of them say, I think I need an assistant. And then you may ask them, okay, what are you working with for your tools and software? What's automated? And they're like, none of it. It's all manual right now. So I think business owners need to understand that it's much cheaper to pay a software or a system to automate processes for you versus hiring someone to do it manually. How do you kind of envision this helping business owners and affecting the workforce? Because I know AI is a new fancy tool that almost does anything we want now. So I'm sure a lot of people are concerned, but there's a lot of opportunities there for more output. How do you kind of see the balance between the automation and still like personal customer service? How do we kind of find that balance?
Customer service is one of my zones of genius. High touch, white glove service is a passion of mine. So anything that I think of from potential customers to clients and customers through keeping them or offboarding them is a process all in of itself. And what I do tell people is it's not just about streamlining and automating, it's also making sure that everything's working seamlessly together. Too many systems with too many integrations can cause problems, just like not enough can cause problems and take away your time. And there will always be a little bit of a manual input to some things, but it's minimal when you find the right systems and the right processes that work for you. Train your team. I have extensive SOP templates that are really easy to put into place and a really great team training onboarding, not just customers. And so when you think about those things, it takes more money not to streamline and automate than it does to turn around and have a few platforms. And even a VA for 5, 10 hours a month is so inexpensive. And you would be amazed at how much it takes off your plate.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's something that is often overlooked. I think business owners, frankly, are just too busy. They're kind of worried about that bottom line, the next sale, working in instead of on their business. But the service you provide is something that's valuable. People keep coming back. I think that's a testament to the service that you provide and the fact that it's in demand. You're kind of hitting that audience, the offer, the messaging. It's all kind of crafted together. But you have some new initiatives. Now you're doing podcasting. I see you started a YouTube channel. Can you tell me more about all these new fancy marketing initiatives that you're kind of putting out there right now?
Just to get me visible. Like I said, for 17 years, I was completely word of mouth and referrals and working privately with people. I really didn't need it, but I want to reach more people. I want a group program to really be able to make it very cost effective and time effective for somebody to come in and learn these and turn around and teach their own team. And then again, there's an upsell to it that they can still have a little bit of time with me if they need that help getting built out, because not everybody is tech savvy. And then doing, of course, the podcast gives me visibility. Starting my YouTube channel takes a lot of the trainings I do in my Facebook group and my master classes and able to put them onto YouTube to give more education for people that like that. It really depends on if you're an audio learner, a video learner, you like to read, then you can find me everywhere for that kind of thing. And just writing my book that's coming out is another one. It's just getting me out there, telling my story, inspiring others to be able to do what I do, or at least pursue their passion. It doesn't have to be what I do, but pursuing their passion, knowing that it's doable. I have a lot of adversity and challenges in my life that I overcome every day, and I'm still able to do it. So can somebody else.
Some of your experience within the podcast submission here that you shared with us is the importance of intuition in business. What is this exactly? How should we really listen to it? Because there's all these external factors. We're kind of inside our own heads. How do we get some clarity from our intuition and kind of propel us forward in business or life?
Backstory, everybody uses their intuition in different areas of their life, and many business owners use it. The stock market person may listen to their intuition that one really seems to be hitting on, or the CEO that's like, this course of action just feels right to me. That's your gut instinct. That's your intuition. And the more that we rely on listening to our own inner wisdom that we all have, the easier it is to hold the vision for your company and set those goals and hold it steady. And asking yourself, does this seem right? How does it feel in my body? Do I feel crunchy? If I feel crunchy, then ask myself a couple other questions to see if this is what is it that doesn't feel right. Asking your team how you feel, relying on other people's intuition. I use my own to hold that vision and to get little aha moments of what I'm really hearing in this moment is that you feel X, Y, Z. And it really, to me, it's invaluable to use that alongside of just regular logistical and analytical things.
Yes, absolutely. Along those same lines, we're seeing a big shift within the labor and workforce ever since COVID. Have you kind of seen this affecting businesses? AI has now come out, so it's even a bigger challenge in the workforce for them to try to have leverage within businesses and corporations now. How do you see this kind of playing out within businesses with the changes since COVID, the workforce specifically, and trying to like lead a team? Because your experience goes into team building and leadership as well. So, how are businesses tackling that today in 2024 and beyond?
Yeah, I can say that a lot of my clients in 2020, when everything hit and changed, didn't know what to do. And they maybe were, a couple of them are fully live events. They traveled around the world holding trainings. They had live events and they're like, what are we going to do? And for me, being in the online space and holding some webinars and masterclass, I'm like, we're just going to do both. How's that going to work? It's like Zoom. We're going to take our trainings and our events online, and it's become hybrid. And then when you bring a team on that are from around the world, I have very specific trainings and onboarding. I work with my team for 90 days fully in training mode before starting to slowly release them into their own tasks and starting to empower them. It's a fine line because sometimes being there too much, they start asking you questions. And so I would have to say, well, what would you do in this situation? How would you handle this, instead of giving them the answer that I would the first 90 days? And it's really about building that camaraderie and culture within your business to be able to be a hybrid. And if companies were honest and looked at their bottom line, and this is online or corporations and small businesses, you actually save money having people be remote, as long as you can build the systems and processes into place to allow people to do remote.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree. With all the client work that you've done, over the past 2 decades here, what do you have a favorite project or a favorite task you were able to help automate or accomplish for any businesses or clients?
I would say my client onboarding is one of my favorites because, again, that is really the lifeblood of your business, is to retain and get referrals. And so if your clients and customers, even if you're a product based business instead of just a service based, the way that they feel during their journey with you and how they're held and how they feel that they're listened to and their feedback is important is everything. So having a really streamlined, high touch, personable onboarding. This isn't just about being AI. I don't mean to keep skirting that question. I think I just like forget about it. AI has a valuable tool within that because you can teach it your voice. And what I love about it, I'm a writer and a copy editor, but doing your own copy editing is hard. And so using AI as a copy editor is invaluable. Taking a course or a script and saying, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to have it. I want it to be participatory. It's invaluable to use chat or some other AI tool to do that. I don't know if it's quite ready yet for the full automation and relying on that. I still think that there's always going to be a person involved in that because it does what we tell it to do. It's still a software that has to be taught on how to help in our business.
Yes, absolutely. For a lot of business owners are kind of expecting a lot of these tools to be the tools and software to be turnkey. And I don't think they recognize that there needs to be some sort of setup, some sort of preparation and training that goes into it. So that way the software works better for you. One review template doesn't, one size doesn't fit all, because there is that more personal connection that you need to have with your clients and customers. So that way they don't feel just like another number, just another automated email, something to personalize the system as well. Throughout your years with software and tools, I'm a big tool and software guy myself. Do you have like some favorite entry level automation tools or just software that could help a lot of business owners?
I just want to touch on one key point that you said. When you're using a system, your audits, and so you can't just set it and forget it. You're constantly going in and making sure it's actually working and working the way that you want it. And so back to your other question, for me, the entry level, your website, your domain email, your scheduler, your payment gateway, those are super important. And there's one more, like my entrepreneur toolkit. I always forget one in a company. Those are like really your basic ones. Having a communication channel like Slack so that your team can communicate and it doesn't get messy through emails and tons of threads, and having a project management tool like Asana, Monday, Trello. Asana is
Yes.
still my favorite, but the other ones are good too.
I know. It's really cool to I can barely keep up with all the new tools and software that come out. It always seems like there's just another tool that does it a little bit different, a little bit better. But we're all taking a gamble if they're not proven yet or a public company. They're bootstrapped, maybe they're a startup. We're kind of making bets and investing into some of these startup developers and teams trying to put this vision together. But to be a part of that journey and help develop tools as well as you build it, I'm sure you've been a part of that as well, where maybe there's a software you've been using. You're like, there's one thing I'm missing. I got to talk to support and see this is one thing we'd like to add. And I see that happening in a lot of Facebook groups too, is they'll just have conversations about that as well. Is there anything missing from your tech stack right now where you're like, wow, it would be really cool if we had something like this, or maybe a different iteration of a current tool that you use?
It's funny, maybe a couple of years ago I would have said so, but everybody is staying so competitive. Entreport is one of my favorite CRMs for a business that's ready for that level. They're very much like an Infusionsoft, Keep, Kajabi, but they added their booking calendar to it. And now they've added dynamic fields, and now that they try to stay up. And I know Go High Level is one that is really risen. They had a lot of glitches at the beginning, but I've seen that they've leveled out, they've learned. And so again, to me, it's customizing for what you're comfortable with. I can work in any platform. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of them, and I'm always willing to learn new ones because maybe it's just right for you. Maybe the way your brain works and the way this system does it just really works for you as the business owner. And so for me, I'm willing to learn it. I'm willing to use it. I'm willing to learn all its capabilities and use it to the fullest. And I have my favorites. And if it works for them, it works for them, or I pick a different one. We really go through and listen to what you want to accomplish in your business first before we decide what tech stacks we're going to use.
Absolutely. And for those interested in learning more and finding out, connecting with you online, where should people go to find out more?
Easiest place is my website. You can get my social media links. All my other information is on there. So Virtual Life Com is the best way to be able to reach me.
Excellent. And we'll have the links available down in the show notes and the description so everyone can get connected. We'll also have your Instagram threads and YouTube channel there as well. What are you looking forward to most in 2025, where it's almost Thanksgiving in 2024? What are you kind of preparing for the next year?
Well, my program launches in January. My new book launches in January. I'm part of an anthology series, and then I'll be writing another one that will launch in April. So I'm really more into getting my podcast group programs up, writing more books. That's been a passion since I was 6. So it's kind of a dream of mine to be a published author that's finally coming to reality at 52.
Hey, amazing. Congratulations. You seem like a person who always has like the always be learning mindset. You love new tools, new processes. You see them develop and change. You've seen businesses change. So kudos to you for everything you've done, everything you're aspiring to be. Congratulations on almost being a published author. That's amazing. So many more things to look forward to. Any last words of wisdom, mentorship, or any advice you'd like to give to our audience here of business owners and marketers?
My biggest thing is really take a peek at what you've got in your business. Really look under the hood. It's something you can do yourself if you don't feel you're in the place to hire somebody to help you do it, because consistent auditing and feedback of your systems is really going to help you propel to the next level. So just make that a consistent thing, not just once a year, and just look at your systems and processes to see how they're really working for you.
Yes, absolutely. In the same way, we would audit some of our accounting books or other areas of our business. It's important to take inventory and kind of see how the results are either positive or negative, what we can do to improve. Same for marketing or with A/B testing, trying to see what the best result is. And I think you would want the same for any systematization or automation that you're kind of putting towards your business.
Absolutely. It's super important to look at those things because they are going to affect your client retention. They are going to affect how people are looking at your business from the first moment they make contact with you to the very end. It's important to look at that.
Yes, absolutely. That's their entire experience, their buyer's journey, what they think and feel about your brand, what their experience was with you. It kind of hinges on all of those pieces that you mentioned, the CRM, the automation, the communication platform that kind of brings it all together. Because you don't want someone spamming you 3 times a day, but you also don't want your business or company being silent when it comes to like the service fulfillment. So I love your approach to business. Congratulations on all your success and future success. And we appreciate you coming on board.
Thanks so much. It was fun being on here today.